everybody who's joining us on this Google Hangout. We have a very prestigious and spectacular guest actually here, which you will realize in a few minutes when I read out the introduction. We have here with us Dr. Sumitesh Das. He's the chief of the Global Research Program with Tata Steel. He's been working in research for the last 18 years, and he has many awards for his excellent research in the field of original and high-quality research in metallurgical and microstructural modeling, computational modeling, novel modeling techniques, and upscaling laboratory-scale research to pilot plant level. He's the winner of Tata Innovista Award, Promising Innovation of 2009, and he's also won the Young Engineers Award in 2006, Brunton Medal in 2004, Sheffield Metallurgical Award in 2002. He's one of the only 12 Indians selected for the Chevening Rolls-Royce Science and Innovation Leadership Program in 2011 at the Sade Business School, Oxford University, and he was chosen by the Foreign and Commonwealth Office of the UK. He was also awarded with the Shelby Memorial Bursary by the Faculty and Senate, the University of Sheffield, for novel modeling techniques. And he's also a distinguished visiting professor of the All India Council of Technical Education, the Indian National Academy of Engineering, between 2009 and 2011. So clearly we have a very distinguished guest with us. He's published more than 20 peer-reviewed journal articles, 20 conference papers, and he has 25 patents filed. So Mr. Das, let me just get right into our discussion here. So with so much, you have clearly an extensive experience in the field of engineering and research. Can you just tell us some of the core challenges that India as a country faces, the deficit that we have in the field of research, in the field of engineering, and where do you think our program and the talk that we're having today can perhaps contribute to meeting that deficit?
Yeah, thanks, Jerry. I think that was a very longish introduction. Not really used to get such longish introductions. I would prefer just
you deserve it. You deserve it, Dr. Das.
Just trying to do something, something wonderful, something creative. And I think I've been blessed with teachers, with mentors quite early in my career, in which they had looked for beyond today's business. They had looked at sustainability. They had looked at connecting the common needs of the common man to something that we could achieve through our research, through our science, through the technologies that we develop. So keeping that in perspective over the many years, if I may say, the motto of my research for the next sort of 10-15 years has been to develop economically viable solutions that can help the country at large. So of course I have drawn my inspirations from many sort of frugal innovations, grassroots innovations, and so on. So what you see is actually the tip of the iceberg. So there's a lot of what I say unconscious things that get into the pipeline, and that's how I think people develop. Mm-hmm. Today's initiative, what you are referring to, was actually born out of sort of a study which was done in-house by a team here. I was a member of that team, and by Dr. Chandra, who is our chief, and Dr. Banerjee, Dr. Tapan Rao. We all got together and we said that, look, every year we get about 40-50 students from engineering colleges, and they work on a different set of programs, different set of projects. And some of them, I must say, they bring a lot of freshness into how we look at things. Maybe there are mundane problems, but they bring up a perspective that you might have never imagined. And some of these are actually truly multidisciplinary. So you might have a materials guy working on something on a chemical process, and he might think, I could do it this way. So we thought, how do we join all of these forces together? And what you see today was basically this initiative called Mind Over Matter. We had different names. I was just chatting to you before this. The idea is that there are 9 challenges. Now, this is the first time we are doing that, and that's the reason we have got 9 categories. In these 9 categories, we are actually expecting students, group of students, because we encourage teamwork, to actually submit their ideas. and each of these challenges are owned internally by a person. He and the team would evaluate this, and I think the top two or top three, depending upon how how crude that idea is or how wacky that idea is, we would actually invite these guys to come and work with us in our labs, work with our researchers over a period of 8 to 12 weeks over the summer. And we hope that some of these ideas would go a long way. So one would be the experience of working with a very leading research lab. The R&D of Tata Steel, by the way, celebrated its 75th year of existence last year. It was set up in 1937, so the oldest R&D. So a chance to work in the oldest R&D with the fresh minds, get new things, get new ideas. What can you do with some of the problems that we have been living with? So that's in short the thing what we launched.
Right. Mr. Das, I was also like wondering, when you're looking at these ideas and you have 9 challenges, I want to know what was the process through which you decided that these are the challenges that India faces, or that the steel industry in general face, or the engineering industry, because how are we? What are like the standards that we're looking at? Okay, in India has a huge demographic dividend, right? So okay, we want to exploit that, and therefore these are some of the challenges that we want to kind of deal with using young minds. So tell me some of the process through which you decided these are the 9 challenges, 9 categories, and therefore these are the kind of ideas that we will eventually select as the winner. What are the criteria there?
Yeah, so I think we have a very vibrant innovation council. The Innovation Council is chaired by one Dr. Raut, who also has got a tremendous experience in developing solutions not only in India but also in Europe. And under him, we have close to 18 to 20 researchers drawn from different streams. So when we started this initiative, we asked each of these researchers to go back to their groups. So each group would consist something like 20-25 researchers. They sort of bubbled up the ideas, the challenges that they saw in their own respective areas. Just to tell you, the main area is about our raw materials. Although we are blessed with a lot of raw materials, most of the raw materials are of lean quality. But whether you buy a car which is made in India or is made in Germany, you would expect the same performance, the same finish, the same sort of tolerance levels. So we are always challenged with one single issue, and that is how to get the best material out of the lean raw materials that we have. This has to be done without affecting the environment. So there comes the third issue of using the environment. Also, we are an energy deficit country, so you cannot just go and build any process. So there was the other thing of energy. So we had something close to 35 of these challenges together, out of which we selected the 9. There are a list of 35 which follows this, but we thought that these would be the 9 top which we found could solve not only the steel industry's problem, but there could be parallel offshoots into other. So, for example, if you take the waste issue, so if you develop a problem for the waste, could it actually generate employment for the people who are supplying the waste? Could it also bring up new industries that could take up this issue and do something with the byproduct of that? And so what we see is that there is a multitude of these sub problems that could come up.
Right. It also sounds like some of the challenges and problems you seem to be discussing are not unique to India. It seems like these are global challenges. So do you think that this is an amazing platform for these very young, enterprising young minds to then be working on such global relevant issues?
Absolutely. I think all the issues that you see are all global challenges, mostly in the metal sector, but you could see parallelisms across different sectors as well. And what is important is that we are looking for people with freshness in their approach also to solve these issues. When you work in a particular field for too long, your mind gets tuned and you are prejudiced to a certain way of attacking the problem.
Right.
So what we are saying is, if you just take an absolute problem, we say colored steel. Now, somebody would say, why don't you just color it on the fly? But that's known. Could you do something with the chemistry? Could you do something with the process, which would actually develop a color in situ? So similarly, all these problems that you see are always, you could attack it in new things. So people saying about, can you do something with solar that would drive the furnace? Now it may look absolutely ridiculous, that it's possible. But there might be a young guy out there who says, so what? I'm willing to give it a try, and that's the sort of guys we are looking for.
Right. So now Tata Steel wants to tap into these young kids from like IIT and other these engineering colleges. Are you looking for a certain kind of profile in the kind of students you get? Because I understand you calling it mind over matter, and it seems like engineering would therefore focus much on the matter part of it. How are you looking at getting the right kind of minds? What are the kind of minds you're looking for?
I think the main thing is the person or persons, the team, should actually be able to challenge status quo. I think that is the sort of guys we are looking for, and we see that happening in industries like say software, like in marketing. You have these guys always bringing up new paradigms, new thoughts, and all. So we said, why can't that happen in a hardcore industry like steel, where you deal with all the steel components anyway? I mean, it's there in your cars, it's there in your buildings, it's there in your houses, everywhere. So can you then connect the two? So it is something like, let me give you an example. For example, the LED, which is made by Samsung, has got a panel. The back panel is actually made of steel. It's a very thin coated steel from Costco. Now, why can't we do that? Now if you ask if a seasoned campaigner like me, we say, well, this is not possible. The process is not there. This is not there. It's too costly and all. But for a new guy, straight out of the third year or a fourth year engineering guy, he says, well, so what? We can do this, and we can come up with a concept, and we could take it forward. So there have been many examples of people who have worked with me. There was a guy from IIT Kharagpur, I can just recollect, and when he came over, he was a guy from computer science, and I was looking at microstructure. So I said, can you help me to find the meeting point of 3 lines in a microstructure, right? And he went back, and he must have thought, what a ridiculous issue, But after 7 days, he comes back and he gives me a solution which we could implement. And then he gives me a call. I think he was facing a Google interview, I think, at that point in time, Google or Yahoo, I can't recollect at that point in time. And he said, sir, the algorithm that I developed at that point in time was actually the question which was asked in Google. And that was actually used to how to route traffic in different cities. You could use the same algorithm. So all we are saying is, today's world is so flat, it is so open, that you could actually draw a lot of similarities. And to draw similarities, you have to enter the field without any prejudice, without any, you need to have some functional knowledge. I'm not saying that without functional knowledge you can, just jump and bam, you can do that.
Right.
You need the functional knowledge, but then you also can bring in fresh thoughts.
Right, right. But do you think, Mr. Das, that our educational institutes are grooming those kinds of minds who have functional knowledge, but who are also able to then like cut across the fields and think and make lateral connections? Like, for example, I'm sorry, go ahead.
Yeah. So I think I was just prompting that they could do better. They could do much better by allowing a bit of open thought into the process. But let me also come back and say, when you look at an organization, even if a small organization of 20 people, you only expect the top 3 or top 4 to have actually different thoughts, rather than all the people. So even if out of a batch of say 300 people, if you have got 10 who wish to challenge, I think the day is made. That's what. Sorry, you were asking something. Yeah.
No, I was just going to bring up the example of Tata Nano, for example. I think it's a remarkable piece of innovation, right? And it's an innovation that not just is about engineering, but it also combines it with design.
Yeah.
So it's like, okay, where are we going to place the engine? How are we going to design this car in such a way that it's much, affordable? So as you were saying earlier, it's about being able to draw these lateral connections. It's not
Correct.
just engineering, not just knowing how to do the nuts and bolts, but to look at it holistically. And
Correct.
so, yeah, and yeah, your point I think is very well taken in terms of like the kind of minds you're looking for. But so, what are your thoughts in terms of the talents, that are coming out of India? Do you think we are world class? Do you think we can be?
I think we are better. We are better.
Oh,
The
okay.
only thing that uh, when I go across many countries in Europe and so on, the issue that always comes up is the willing to challenge status quo. I think sometimes we are so burdened, you may say, with
Hmm.
maybe the coursework, maybe the rigmarole of getting into a IIT or a top-end college, maybe the willing to move into a job, rather than a career. There could be many facets, but the issue is that if somebody has an idea, can we provide a platform? And that was what was inspiring us for this. Can we provide him or her a platform to experiment? I think if we have succeeded even 1% in this thing, I think it would be a major game changer. And then, I mean, if this is a success, then the next year again we have a sort of a bigger platform, because we will also learn in the process. Because I think we ourselves will be challenged both in how we run the process. People coming into our labs will have a different set of expectations, because you are talking of a generation, I would say Y, or generation next, I would say,
Hmm.
who would look at things in a different way. So their needs would be different. Like they would like to do something like Google Hangout to probably get answers across the world. How do you solve a particular issue, or go to Wikipedia or something to get an answer? Maybe spend less and less time in the library.
Hmm.
So we will also be challenged in the process, but I think the talent is there. The motivation, yes, we could improve. What we would like to give is a platform to aspire for. I mean, that is what we are looking for.
Hmm. No, and I agree. I think Valueabled is a fantastic platform by Tata Steel. Now, you clearly can be a role model and you'll be a mentor to all of these young kids who will come into your program of Mind Over Matter. Do you want to just share with us your own personal journey? What brought you here? How you came about? Your challenges, your hardships, so that the students who are listening or who may eventually listen to this video and who will participate in this contest, they may see a path forward for themselves.
I believe, Jerry. I think the generation is changing so fast that if I recollect my story, it would be like an old man speaking. I mean, gone are the days when you could say, I did this in my childhood, and so this is the way how the world is going to be. Absolutely not. I mean, the first time I faced a computer was when I wrote a program in Fortran. And that is the only time when I faced, maybe when I was 22.
Hmm.
Now kids face the whatever, the tablet, smartphone, whatever, when they are maybe 11 months old. So, and the wearing in the mind, this is something which I believe, and I think you are also a psychology guy, so you must believe, must have gone through this, that the wearing in the mind takes place long time before, even
Yes.
before you have started to speak. And that is what this generation is actually blessed with. So if you ask me personally, the I am like I would say like a round ball trying to fit into a square peg, because I wanted to be an artist, frankly speaking,
Ah,
and I landed up designing solutions for something else. So I think there is a parallelism, you could say, that art is always there in science. Or the other way around. But I believe, I was just looking at the smartphone, and you see the flexibility in which you can even take notes. You could actually sketch your ideas through, send it across, to using a PDF. You could share it on a what's that, WhatsApp, and so on. you know
right.
Things that we could not do. I mean, we used to send a mail. I remember using a common mail ID .vsnl.ernet.in something something something, and
Hmm.
then wait the entire day for that to come back. Question is, how do we bring about a synergy in the tools that we have got to solve problems? Because at the end of the day, if we are not able to solve the issues of somebody getting a light in, when you travel to many parts of India, there are no electricity lights right now. There are solar solutions available. Can we make them cheaper? Can we make them integrated within their lifestyles? Can we, I mean, I had a dream of designing a slate, a little piece of slate that many young kids take to the school, and it would fold over to become a something like a power enabled tablet. So there is a $1 or a, I think, $20 thing going around, but that's not feasible. It doesn't look so. Then we were challenged just last week. We were discussing with some guys, like, how do we develop a very low cost projector? Yeah, so you could have a content on some piece, and you have a very low cost projector to project that content. And how could you run it off batteries or solar power and so on? So if you look at our challenges, you will see there is a lot of emphasis on renewable energy in the way how you tackle renewables, solar, wind, and all. And these are all linked to the steel industry. But we believe that if somebody is working on this, then the other avenues also become open. So that's how I would try to link the experience with expertise and whatever new things that come up. Yeah.
No, that's interesting. You said you wanted to be an artist, and here you are as an engineer. And I think that perhaps explains why you're looking for the kind of people who are, clutter breaking in their thoughts. And somewhere, do you think our modern education system, our kids these days, and even perhaps their parents, kind of encourage a lot more siloing of expertise, encourage a lot more expertise that is very narrow in one field, and perhaps that is stunting imagination?
Yeah, I think it happens, but I would say you need some success stories. See, if you go back, 1983 was, I believe, the changing place for world cricket. I remember still listening onto the radio and Kapil Dev, taking Vivian Richards, maybe a long time issue to many of you guys, but that is the time when it actually revolutionized Indian cricket. You started believing that you could actually do something, and then you had the Wills Cup in 1987 with Ravi Shastri and so on, and that actually changed Indian one-day cricket. And then it was, like history, like now it is a part and parcel of our bloodstream. The question is that how many Indian innovators do we actually celebrate, and how many colleges actually have got this spawning centers, what you call incubation centers? So you would say that, well, if somebody wants to do a project with a major leading industry like, say, Tata Steel, then can you count a portion of the marks or portion of the what you call the appraisal to be given by the industry? So these would require some changes in our education system, but these will happen as and when you will see success stories happening. I think recently there was a group of guys in Bangalore whose solution was just brought over by Google. I think it was